Hackers unmasked, who are they in 2025? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. You know, we talk a lot about cybersecurity, but what about the people behind the screens? Hackers. They're like the shadowy figures in a digital thriller, and trust me, the plot in 2025 is wild. Today we're diving deep into the different types of hackers out there. We're talking the good, the bad, and the ones who blur the lines so hard you're not even sure what side they're on. We'll break down who they are, what they do, and why they matter to you. So hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, because things are about to get interesting. Let's unmask these hackers. First up, we got the good guys, the ones we all root for, the white hat hackers. These are the ethical hackers, the digital superheroes who use their powers for good. Imagine Batman, but instead of a Batmobile, they've got a tricked-out Linux setup. White hats are all about finding vulnerabilities before the bad guys do. They're like that friend who tells you your fly is down before you walk on stage for a big presentation. They get hired by companies to hack into their systems, find weaknesses, and help them patch things up. Think of it like a security audit, but instead of some dude with a clipboard, it's a tech whiz running penetration tests, scanning for vulnerabilities, and basically trying to break in so they can help you build stronger walls. And let me tell you, these guys and girls are in high demand. I've seen posts all over the place, companies throwing down some serious cash for white hats to find bugs in their systems. We're talking $50,000 bounties, sometimes even more for finding that one critical flaw. They use some pretty sophisticated tools too, like Metasploit, which is basically a hacker's Swiss Army knife. It's got everything you need to probe, scan, and exploit vulnerabilities. Don't worry though, white hats use it for good, unlike some of the other folks we'll be talking about later. But the point is, white hats are essential. They're the ones keeping our digital world safe, one vulnerability at a time. They're the unsung heroes of the internet, working behind the scenes to make sure your data stays secure. So next time you see a story about a company getting hacked, remember, it could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for the white hats out there, constantly on guard. Alright, now let's talk about the bad guys, the ones who keep you up at night, the black hat hackers. These cyber criminals are the dark side of the internet, lurking in the shadows and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. These are the folks who give hacking a bad name, the ones motivated by profit, chaos, or sometimes just plain old spite. They don't care about the damage they cause as long as they get what they want. We're talking data breaches, identity theft, ransomware attacks. If it sounds nasty, black hats are probably involved. They infiltrate systems, steal sensitive information, and leave a trail of destruction in their wake. They're the ones who steal your credit card info, drain your bank account, and then turn around and sell your data on the dark web. It's a vicious cycle that leaves victims feeling violated and helpless. And let me tell you, these guys are getting more sophisticated by the day. They're constantly upgrading their tools and techniques, making it harder for even the most advanced security systems to keep up. I was reading just the other day about this black hat group that hit a bunch of hospitals with what they call double extortion ransomware. It's a particularly nasty tactic that puts lives at risk. They lock up all the hospital's data so they can't access patient records or anything, and then they demand a ransom to unlock it. Imagine the chaos and fear that causes in a place where every second counts. But here's the kicker. Even if the hospital pays up, they threaten to leak all the sensitive data anyway. It's a lose-lose situation that leaves victims feeling trapped and desperate. Talk about a lose-lose situation. The hospital is left scrambling to protect its patients and its reputation, all while trying to navigate the demands of these cyber criminals. Black hats are constantly finding new ways to exploit vulnerabilities, whether it's through phishing scams, malware attacks, or social engineering. They're always one step ahead, looking for the next big score. They're like digital pickpockets, always looking for an easy target. They prey on the unsuspecting, the unprepared, and the vulnerable. And the worst part is, they're tough to catch. They use encrypted communication, VPNs, and other methods to cover their tracks, making it nearly impossible for law enforcement to pin them down. They operate in the shadows using VPNs, encrypted communication, and all sorts of tricks to cover their tracks. It's like trying to catch a ghost in a digital maze. It's like trying to catch a ghost. They slip through the cracks, leaving only traces of their presence behind. So, what can you do to protect yourself? The first step is awareness. Knowing the risks and staying informed can go a long way in keeping you safe. Well, first of all, be vigilant. Don't click on suspicious links, be careful what information you share online, and for crying out loud, use strong passwords. It's basic, but it's effective. Don't click on suspicious links, be careful what information you share online, and for crying out loud, use strong passwords. These simple steps can make a big difference in your online security. And if you really want to up your security game, consider investing in a good antivirus and a password manager. These tools can provide an extra layer of protection against the ever-evolving threats out there. Trust me, it's worth it. Peace of mind is priceless when it comes to your personal and financial information. Because when it comes to black hats, it's not a matter of if they'll strike, but when. They're always out there, plotting their next move. Stay safe out there, folks. The digital world can be a dangerous place, but with the right precautions, you can protect yourself and your loved ones. Chapter 3. Gray Hats. Walking the line between light and dark. Alright, so we've talked about the good guys, the white hats, and the bad guys, the black hats. But what about the ones who fall somewhere in between? The ones who don't fit neatly into the categories of good or bad? The ones who aren't quite heroes, but not exactly villains either? These individuals operate in a space that's not black or white, but gray. That's where our next group comes in, the gray hat hackers. They are the enigmatic figures who walk the line between light and dark. These are the folks who blur the lines, the ones who operate in that ethical gray area. They challenge the norms and push boundaries. They might hack into a system without permission, but not necessarily with malicious intent. Maybe they're just curious, exploring the limits of their skills. Maybe they want to prove a point, or highlight a vulnerability that needs fixing. Or maybe they're hoping to get a bug bounty without going through the proper channels. Their motivations can be varied and complex. For example, I remember reading a story last year about a gray hat who found a vulnerability in a major bank's website. It was a significant flaw that could have been exploited. Instead of reporting it to the bank directly, they decided to go public with it, posting the details on a hacking forum. This action sparked a lot of debates. Now, on the one hand, you could argue that they did the bank a favor by exposing the flaw. It forced the bank to address the issue quickly. But on the other hand, they also put the bank's customers at risk by making the vulnerability public knowledge. See what I mean? Gray hats are complicated. They don't fit neatly into the good guy or bad guy categories. They're more like anti-heroes operating by their own set of rules. They're more like anti-heroes operating by their own set of rules. They challenge the status quo and often act as a catalyst for change. Sometimes their actions can be beneficial, like when they expose security flaws that would have otherwise gone unnoticed. They can be the unsung heroes of cybersecurity, like when they expose security flaws that would have otherwise gone unnoticed. Their discoveries can lead to stronger, more secure systems. But other times, their actions can be reckless and irresponsible, putting people's data and privacy at risk. The consequences can be severe, putting people's data and privacy at risk. The line they walk is thin and fraught with danger. The big difference between gray hats and black hats is motivation. While black hats are driven by personal gain, often with malicious intent, while black hats are driven by personal gain, gray hats are often motivated by a desire to expose security flaws or challenge the status quo. Their intentions are usually more altruistic. Gray hats are often motivated by a desire to expose security flaws or challenge the status quo. They see themselves as guardians of the digital realm. They might not always go about it in the most ethical way, but their intentions aren't usually malicious. They aim to make the digital world safer, but their intentions aren't usually malicious. That being said, it's important to remember that hacking into someone's system without permission is still illegal, regardless of your intentions. That being said, it's important to remember that hacking into someone's system without permission is still illegal, regardless of your intentions. The law doesn't differentiate based on your motives. So, while gray hats might occupy a morally ambiguous space, their actions can still have serious consequences. They walk a fine line that can easily tip into illegality. Their actions can still have serious consequences. The digital world is complex, and gray hats are a testament to its intricate, often contradictory nature. In Chapter 4, Script Kiddies and State-Sponsored, the Nuisances and the Nightmares. Alright, we've covered the main players in the hacking world, but we've got two more groups to talk about, each with their own unique flavor of digital mayhem. These groups may not always make the headlines, but their actions ripple through the digital landscape in significant ways. First up, we've got the Script Kiddies. Now these guys aren't exactly masterminds. They're more like the teenagers of the hacking world, just starting out and eager to make some noise. They often lack the deep technical knowledge that more experienced hackers possess. They don't have the skills or the patience to build their own hacking tools, so they rely on pre-made scripts and tools that they download from the internet. These tools are often freely available on various forums and websites. Think of it like the difference between building your own custom PC from scratch and just buying one pre-built from Best Buy. One takes skill and knowledge, the other just takes a credit card. Script kiddies are often motivated by the thrill of causing disruption rather than any financial gain. Script kiddies are mostly harmless, at least in the grand scheme of things. They're more likely to launch a DDoS attack that slows down your internet for a few hours than they are to steal your identity or drain your bank account. Their attacks are often more about showing off to their peers than causing real damage. They're annoying, sure, but not necessarily dangerous. But then we get to the big leagues, the ones who play for keeps, the state-sponsored hackers. These are the elite units of the cyber warfare world, highly skilled hackers employed by governments to carry out espionage, sabotage, and all sorts of other shady stuff. Their operations are often shrouded in secrecy and can have far-reaching consequences. We're talking about groups like APT28, Fancy Bear, Equation Group, names that send chills down the spines of security experts everywhere. These groups are often linked to some of the most high-profile cyber attacks in recent history. These guys are the real deal, with the resources and the expertise to launch sophisticated attacks that can cripple entire networks, steal state secrets, and even disrupt critical infrastructure. Their actions can have geopolitical implications. Remember that time a few years back when a power grid in Ukraine went down, leaving hundreds of thousands of people in the dark? Yeah, that was state-sponsored hackers. Or how about the Sony Pictures hack, where terabytes of sensitive data were leaked online? Yep, state-sponsored hackers again. These incidents highlight the potential for significant disruption and damage. These guys are playing a whole different ballgame, operating on a level that's hard to even comprehend. Their methods are sophisticated, and their targets are often strategic. They're the ghosts in the machine, the invisible hand that can reach out and touch you without you even knowing it. Their presence is often felt, but rarely seen. The good news is most of us will never be targeted by a state-sponsored hacking group. They're usually after bigger fish like governments, corporations, and research institutions. Their targets are often chosen for their strategic value, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be aware of the threat they pose. Understanding these threats is the first step in protecting ourselves and our digital world. So there you have it, the diverse and fascinating world of hackers. From the white hats safeguarding our digital fortresses, to the black hats lurking in the shadows, the gray hats walking the line, the script kiddies testing their skills, and the state-sponsored hackers playing high-stakes cyber chess, it's a complex landscape out there. Knowing who's who and what motivates them is the first step in protecting yourself. Remember, cybersecurity isn't just about firewalls and antivirus software. It's about awareness, vigilance, and understanding the human element behind the code. Which type of hacker did you find the most intriguing? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of cybersecurity. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.